just awfully hard for anybody to understand exactly why things happened the way they did. You know, we had Richard Engel at the top of the show with his package talking about how he was bicycling down the runway at Bagram Air Force Base. I remember when we showed that package back in June, I think it was, maybe July, we sat there going, wait a second. We abandoned our allies in the middle of the night, ripped out all of the equipment, didn't let them know we were leaving. They woke up and everything was gone. It's not the way you do things. And by the way, for people going, oh, how dare Republicans fundraise off of something like this, I guarantee you Democrats would have fundraised off of something like this if things had gone the opposite direction. It's the way it happens in politics. And you take a guy like Brian Mast, who lost both of his legs in Kandahar, yeah, I think it'd be especially hot this morning.
Joe, this is such a bigger question than political party. It's a question of who we are as Americans and the moral stain of what we've done. You can be terrible in war, but you can also be terrible exiting war. And the way we're doing it is just god-awful. I have been talking to friends over the last couple of weeks who are so desperate about their visas to come to the U.S. I don't know why Joe Biden dared to say that Afghans did not want to come. Has he ever spoken to one Afghan who is afraid of the Taliban coming to take back power? I don't think so, based on what he said. But the desperation and the State Department not responding to these visa inquiries, and it is a moral stain on our character if we cannot figure out a way to make right the situation, to secure the air base, to get the airport secure enough where commercial flights can come in and where we can process our Afghan allies and activists and civil society leaders who are going to be persecuted just because it didn't have to be this way. It really did not have to be this way.
Yeah, it didn't have to be this way.
And passed.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Jonathan Lemire, it didn't have to be this way. And you're going to hear from a lot of people at the Biden White House, and we certainly are hearing from a lot of viewers. This was Donald Trump's idea. This was Donald Trump's deadline. Donald Trump was attacking Joe Biden for not getting out quickly enough. Pompeo had promised that we would be out by spring of 2021. Most of the criticism coming from Donald Trump and people close to him against Biden was that Biden didn't leave soon enough. So that's out there. It's all in writing. It's why Donald Trump doesn't have any room to say anything, or Pompeo, or any of those people that were pushing to get us out even more quickly. That said, the buck stops with the President of the United States. He said that yesterday. And for people who want to know why this happened, that aren't just looking at this through the ideological lenses, you know, we've talked about it on this show for 6 months now. This is a guy who hated Karzai back in 2009, famously got up, threw his napkin down and said this dinner's over, and left when Karzai was president because of the rampant corruption, because the fact we were spending billions and billions of dollars, tax dollars, to try to build up that country, build up that military, and it was all being squandered, and people were getting extraordinarily rich. But that said, again, we recognize that. But at the end of the day, how effective is this, pointing at the guy who was the last president, how effective is that going to be politically for Joe Biden when he himself said yesterday, the buck stops here?
Well, first, you're right to point out the rank hypocrisy of Donald Trump and most of his allies on this issue. This was indeed Trump's deal originally to get out of Afghanistan. But let's be clear about this. Joe Biden himself, President Biden, is not trying to shift this onto Donald Trump. Not really. There are plenty of things that the Trump administration did that Biden immediately tossed aside. We can go through countless examples of places where Trump had a policy that Biden immediately broke on that first day in the Oval Office by executive order. This is one he didn't. He delayed the departure by a few months, yes, but he honored this agreement because he believes in it. This is something he has believed in for more than a decade. He does think it is time for the American presence to leave Afghanistan. This is something he firmly believes. He doesn't want to have another American son or daughter lose their life over there. That is clear. Now, how it is handled, how the evacuation went down, that's another matter, and there are very few people defending it. But the president himself, he said yesterday, I'll take criticism on this because it's something is a part of his convictions.